The Raptors kept it close on the road in Denver for 3 quarters at least, but ultimately fall to the Nuggets. 121-111 is your final. Raptors record now 26-37. Not the way they needed to start this road trip. Hello, everyone, as we welcome you inside Raptors Night Cap. Randy Urban alongside Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, and Leo Rautins. Sherman, I'm going to start with you tonight. You know, the Raps were right there for 3 quarters of this game. A bad fourth quarter, and we've seen this occasionally this season. They hang around with the best of them, and then a poor quarter. What happened tonight? Why did it happen tonight?
Well, they had their offensive drought in the fourth quarter, and, it kind of started the end of the third quarter, and it just continued. I mean, the Raptors didn't score for just over 4 minutes into that fourth quarter. You just can't have that kind of stretch against a Denver Nuggets team that has that much firepower on the offensive end. So it was one of those games that drought hit them late. Really, you don't have much of a chance at that point to make it up that late in the game. And tip your hat to Denver. I mean, they had a great bench performance. It was a classic, I think, game that your coach wants you to have, where your main guys played a lot the night before. Can your bench come in and really do some work? And they had 48 points off their bench and huge performances in that fourth quarter from their bench as well.
Jonesy, what did you see in that fourth quarter that kind of led to their blackout, as you call it?
The same thing that Sherm did. And Leo, you, Randy, and Sherm and I, we were all talking about this before we fired the cameras up. You're missing people. You'd love to have Chris Boucher's energy, love to have a little more scoring from a Gary Trent Jr. And let's face it, the bench, as Sherm pointed out, didn't have the impact that the Raptors needed it to. And I saw it early in the fourth quarter when Nick Nurse has that time period where he normally rests his starters, and you play the end of the third, the start of the fourth with your bench to get your main guys some rest. He had to come back with them with less than 2.5 minutes gone in the fourth quarter, and just little things. You get a couple of bad possessions where there's maybe a forced shot or a quick shot or a shot without ball movement. You got bad defensive balance, and Nuggets run out. They get a score in early offense, and now the lead's gone from 5 to 7. And you come down with another one of those, or you turn it over, or you miss a layup, and they come back and they bang a 3, and now you've gone from 5 to 10. And we watched it in the fourth quarter. It was 5, then it went to 8, and then. I'm looking at saying, if they don't score here and it goes to 11, Nick Nurse needs a timeout. Goes to 11. He calls the timeout. They come out of the timeout, turn it over again. Denver bangs another 3, and you're looking around and suddenly you're down 14. And when you have that short, small a margin for error, you just got to take good shots, and you got to play good defense, and everything has to fit together. And when one thing's off, the whole thing falls apart.
And Leo, you mentioned this in the broadcast, and I don't want to sit here and make excuses, but just give the fans and the people that don't really know what the effect of playing at a high altitude can do. The one time that I've had experience of sort of exercising at that level was in Mexico City, and I literally lost my breath walking down the street. And I consider myself like fairly active. So, how do they deal with that?
Well, I tell you, it's not Mexico City, because I remember playing in Mexico City and I thought I was going to die. But I'll tell you what, Denver's pretty close. I can tell you that in the best shape of my life, I found it very difficult to play in Denver. Your legs feel heavy. Your lungs feel like they're burning. And again, everybody has a different experience with it. But the reality is you're just not getting enough oxygen. That's just the way it is. Again, everybody handles it differently. So it's not an excuse. It's a reality. It's a concern for every team that goes there to play. So, again, people like to call them excuses, but you couple that with no Boucher, no Gary Trent Jr., no Fred tonight. It's a difficult game. It's a difficult game if you have everybody. It's a difficult game if you have everybody on sea level. But when you're under those conditions, it slips quickly. And as you guys have pointed out, that start of the fourth quarter, you could just see, I said on TV, you're in a danger zone. I think it was a 7 point game ago. This is danger zone right now. The ball stops moving. You're trying to go one-on-one. If something doesn't happen right now, you're in trouble, because if you get down like I think, Jonesy, you said it's 11. All of a sudden you hit another 3. You're in Denver. You're in altitude. Your legs already are feel like lead weights. Now you're not coming back in this game. You're just not. So again, it's not excuses. It's reality. And that's what makes, there's a saying, you talk to NBA coaches, they say winning is hard. Winning is real hard. And when you don't have all your players and you're playing under conditions like that, it's brutal. So this was a tough game, and it was a great effort for 3 quarters, tremendous effort. And you got a lot of really nice performances, but unfortunately, just not enough.
Yeah, Sherm, speaking of winning being hard, Denver loses Jamal Murray and everybody thinks, all right, that's pretty much the end of their run or their aspirations to go all the way. And they're playing so well, but they're now 8-1 without Jamal Murray. How are they doing it?
Well, they're still a good team. I mean, they lost probably one of their top 2 players, but it doesn't mean that they don't have pieces that can help them continue to win. Now, they had championship aspirations, and I'm sure in that locker room they still feel that way. It'll be difficult to do it without a Jamal Murray. It would have been difficult to do it with a Jamal Murray. But I just think that when you're talking about the regular season, guys want to play. They want more opportunities. And a guy like Jamal goes down, there's minutes, there's shots, there's possessions. There's all kinds of opportunities out there. And a guy like Michael Porter Jr. is doing a great job taking advantage of it. Aaron Gordon coming over, still getting acclimated. There are more opportunities for a guy like him. Nikola Jokic, who's been phenomenal all season long, we know how good he is, and he can play at an even higher level. So I think if your head coach, Mike Malone, and he spoke about this, he was a bit irritated by a question like that earlier before the game. And I think he just feels that people don't understand that this is a team. Yes, they have great players, and Jamal is a great player, but he believes in his team, and those guys in that locker room believe in themselves. And there's a lot of talent that's still left behind, even though Jamal Murray's not in that lineup right now.
Jonesy, sure. Leo mentioned, he still got some nice performances tonight. So let's start there for the Raptors. Khem Birch, career high in points. Every game, he's just, getting better.
Again, this is something we talked about before we turned the cameras on. I'm watching a guy who he's supplying the energy. Nick Nurse loves the big guys to be able to make plays in his system, handle the ball. So we see Birch and Lowry and everybody talking about, the budding chemistry. Kyle Lowry's always hooked up his big guy, whether it's been Amir Johnson, Bismack Biyombo, you name it, Valanciunas, Ibaka. Kyle's always done that. And so now he has this chemistry with Birch, and they're playing screen and roll, and Birch is rolling to the basket hard. If nothing else, taking other people, sucking help in so they can pitch it out. He's playing, he's doing his part. He's getting dunks, he's finishing. Now I'm watching him in the short roll. He doesn't go all the way, catches it, makes the pass out of the middle to a wide open shooter or to a guy who's open, who swings it to a shooter. And I'm just watching him become more and more comfortable within the system. Oh, by the way, he's still making shots, scoring at the rim, finishing in the lane. As you said, the 20 points. But Nick loves to have his big guys be able to make plays. And Birch has adapted to the system very quickly. And he's showing Nick, look, I can play in your system. And then he's doing it at the other end too. He's contesting shots. He's blocking shots. He's rebounding for you. So it's been a great find. And it's almost as if Khem Birch has been set free in this system for the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, Leo, a lot of finesse offensively. It's a little bit more finesse than I thought he had. This is a guy, you got to expect the Raptors to go pretty hard for him in the offseason.
Well, he's got freedom, right? He's got an opportunity. No one's saying don't shoot. No one's saying don't do things. And I'll tell you what jumps out at me. He runs. He runs the floor. How many baskets does he get just because he runs the floor or rebounds? Okay. He contests shots. He keeps the ball in play whenever he can, right? And he's tremendous at moving without the basketball. He sniffs out these opportunities. He sees a guy hesitating, looking for somebody. Boom, he gets there, right? You look at his passing out of the paint. I mean, his passes are on the money.
Yes.
Right? I mean, he gets the ball and he just, boom, he knows where everybody is, and that ball is delivered on time, on target. Like, those things have just jumped out at me. So, he's got that, he's a guy that you just look at him and he knows how to play. And you can't say that about everybody. You really can't. But you can have a big guy that knows how to play. He impacts the game in a lot of ways. So I've always been a Khem Birch fan, but right now, like, he's showing me so much that it's really fun to watch.
Guys, I just think he's consistently fundamental. He's understated in terms of what he does. He's a smart player. He stays in his lane, and then he's surrounded by players who know how to make what he does very good and make him very comfortable, so he doesn't have to do anything outside of what he knows he can do. So the situation is great to give him a platform to really put on display what he can do, and he's taking advantage of it. But I just like his consistent, fundamental approach. He makes the plays that are presented. He doesn't try to force things. And that can be something that gets lost in the shuffle when we're talking about players, not trying to do too much. Do what you do, but do it consistently.
Jonesy, under a minute. Another guy that can play, and it's really evident now, is Malachi Flynn. The Raptors have something with this kid.
He looks like the mini hybrid of Lowry and Van Vliet out there. He's tough.
Yeah.
He's competitive. He plays bigger than his size. He's smart, very gritty, makes the right plays. I'm impressed with his emerging decision-making in screen and roll situations and running the offense. So, the downside is the loss. The good side, the upside is you're seeing Malachi develop and show you what he can do in minutes like this.
20 seconds, Leo. How do they get it done in Utah next game?
It was down to the same thing. You got to have the effort. You got to find a way to sustain it for 48 minutes. Difficult task. Utah as well is above sea level, and they're a very good team.
All right, guys, got to stop you there. Appreciate you doing this as always. Next up for the Raptors, Saturday night, the first half of a back-to-back. They'll start in Utah, 10 p.m. Eastern. See you then.
Thanks for watching. You can click to watch our last episode or to subscribe to the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.